The richest couple in the city were celebrating their daughter's birthday in the grand ballroom downstairs, while my boyfriend, Andrew, was whispering promises about giving me his first time. He was still tied to the headboard the way I had left him, pleading for me to turn off the lights and set the mood with candles. I had just picked up the lighter when a glowing message, like an invisible chat box, appeared in front of my eyes. Leah, stop. That lighter is tampered with. The moment you ignite it, it will blow up in your face. Andrew is only dating you to clear the path for his childhood love, Celeste, the imposter Hitchcock daughter. Your face looks exactly like Mrs. Hitchcock when she was young, and they are terrified people will recognize you as the real heiress. Once the explosion destroys your face, the fake heiress will arrange a fatal car crash during your hospital transfer. As for Andrew, he will abandon you instantly, marry Celeste, and together they will murder your birth parents and claim the entire Hitchcock fortune. You need to reach the ballroom right now. The moment Mrs. Hitchcock sees you, she will recognize her real daughter. My fingers locked around the lighter. Andrew's deep, coaxing voice floated behind me. Babe, come on, light the candles. I even wore glow in the dark boxers for this. He lounged there in the dim light, arms bound, voice dripping with practiced charm. Meanwhile, the strange messages kept racing across my vision. Classic bait. Pretty face, deadly intentions. Stay calm, Leah. Do not click that lighter. Your face is your only shield. Guard it. I gently placed the lighter back on the coffee table. Andrew's charm vanished the moment I didn't move. Leah, what are you doing? Quit stalling. A cold knot formed in my stomach. Something about tonight was horribly off. We had been together for 2 years, and he had always avoided getting physical. He claimed he wanted to respect me. Yet, tonight, he was pushing me, practically desperate. Even stranger, he told me this morning that he had important work and couldn't celebrate my birthday. Then, out of nowhere, he booked this suite and asked me to meet him for a magical night. It felt like he was trying very hard to keep me away from the Hitchcocks. My pulse spiked. I pretended to answer a call, setting off a ringtone. Okay, I will be right there. I hung up, turned to Andrew, and switched on the lights. That was my manager. The Hitchcocks just announced a special bonus to every employee because their long-lost daughter is celebrating her birthday here. I have to go pick it up before the queue gets long. For a split second, Andrew's expression turned stiff before he forced his flirtatious look back. Leah, nothing compares to tonight. Are you really choosing a paycheck over what I am offering you? He tried to look tempting, but all I felt was dread. Another string of messages appeared. Look at him, trying to lure her like a cheap siren. Pathetic. Calling this his first time? He and that fake heiress have been together forever. I quickly searched online for news about the Hitchcock's daughter found last year. Every photo of Celeste was blurred or angled to hide her features. A comment mentioned that she had been kidnapped at 5 years old and that her parents were now protective. A shiver ran through me. I was kidnapped at 5 as well. My adoptive parents had given me a decent life and worked themselves to the bone to put me through school. 2 years ago, they died in a crash, and before my adoptive mother passed, she confessed that I was not their biological child. Lost and overwhelmed, I wandered into the street and was hit by a car. That was how I met Andrew. He was the doctor who treated my broken leg and brought warm soup to my hospital room. After I was released, he came to check on me and found me surrounded by a few men in an alley. When I tried to push them away, they mocked me and called me a cursed orphan. Andrew stepped in front of me and warned them that he had already called the police. They left. He walked me home that night and told me he had fallen for me from the moment we met, that he wanted to take care of me and keep me safe. I believed every word. I thought he was my hero. I never once questioned why he avoided intimacy or disappeared without explaining himself. I assumed he had personal struggles he didn't want to share. Now the truth was staring me in the face. Everything was an act. It all started with your blood work results at the hospital, Leah. That's when he targeted you. She really had no idea she was being used all this time. My stomach churned. I forced myself to speak. Andrew, do you actually love me? He looked taken aback for a moment, then irritated. Of course I do. Why else would I treat you so well? Now go light the candles. Anger flared inside me. I shoved him down on the bed again. We do not need candles, Andrew. Why not turn off the lights and try it like this? Panic flashed across his face. No. Turn the lights off. We should use the candles, not like this. That alone was enough to confirm everything. The lighter was a trap. I acted cheerful. They said the bonus is 10,000. I can finally buy you that watch you want. Wait here." Without giving him time to argue, I grabbed my phone and rushed out. I reached the ballroom and peeked inside. Mr. and Mrs. Hitchcock stood on stage thanking their guests. Beside them was a graceful young woman in a designer gown. She had to be Celeste. "There they are, your real parents and the imposter." Celeste lifted the microphone with trembling hands. "Mom, Dad, thank you for loving me and welcoming me back. I am 23 now, and it is time I supported our family. Thank you for letting me intern at the Hitchcock Corporation. I love you both." My heart sank. They were introducing her to the entire city as the heir. "Leah, you need to stop this. If the imposter takes a role in the company, she will rot it from the inside. Bribes, extortion, ruined deals. The corporation's downfall starts with her." My pulse thundered in my ears as I prepared to rush into the ballroom, but fingers clamped around my arm and yanked me back. "Leah, don't fall for it. There's no bonus. It's some twisted joke. If you walk in there, they'll punish you," Andrew hissed. A week ago, I would have believed him. Crashing an exclusive event as a waitress would get me fired on the spot. But fear no longer controlled me. I needed answers. I tore my arm free, shoved him away, and pushed the doors open. The bang echoed through the ballroom. Andrew shouted my name, and Celeste, who was on stage with the Hitchcocks, whipped her head toward me. Her face froze, then crumpled in dramatic pain. She sagged into Mrs. Hitchcock's arms as the guests erupted in edgy whispers. Look at her pretending to faint the moment she feels exposed. What a snake. "Go, Leah, let them see you." Fueled by the phantom messages, I sprinted forward and shouted, "Stop. She's pretending. I'm the real daughter. She's the imposter." Gasps rippled across the ballroom. Mr. and Mrs. Hitchcock finally looked my way. My manager, Henderson, intercepted me in a panic. "What are you doing here? You were on leave. If you don't get out right now, you're terminated." Andrew wrapped his arms around me again. "Leah, please stop before you make it worse. I know your gambling debt is huge, but lying about being their daughter will only ruin your life."
"What?
A gambler claiming she's the Hitchcock heiress? She must be insane," someone muttered. The crowd's disdain spread quickly. The Hitchcocks started toward us, but Celeste whimpered theatrically again. They rushed back to help her. I shoved Andrew off me. "I don't gamble. He's lying. And you," I told Henderson, "should move if you like having a job." He laughed in my face. "Security, remove her." 4 coworkers grabbed me. Henderson patted my cheek like I was an unruly child. "You're fired. Now leave." Panic surged through me. If I let them throw me out now, they would erase me before morning. Desperate, I kicked the towering champagne display beside us. Dozens of flutes shattered with deafening force, sending glass and champagne everywhere. The Hitchcocks turned at the noise. Mrs. Hitchcock caught a full, unobstructed view of my face, and her expression changed instantly. She tore herself away from Celeste and hurried toward me. Henderson shot forward to intercept her. "Mrs. Hitchcock, my sincerest apologies. One of our employees is having a breakdown. For your safety, please take Miss Hitchcock away." Mr. Hitchcock brushed past him. "Let her go." Released, I stumbled forward. "Mrs. Hitchcock, I'm your real daughter. She's pretending. I was kidnapped." Mr. Hitchcock finally looked at me clearly. His breath hitched. "Eleanor, she looks exactly like you at that age." Whispers swept through the crowd. "She really does look more like Mrs. Hitchcock than the heiress does." Mrs. Hitchcock studied my face intently, drawn toward me like she already knew the truth. "I'm telling you the truth," I said. "I'm your child." "Yes, Leah, this is your moment." Before I could say anything else, Andrew stepped forward quickly. "I'm so sorry, Mrs. Hitchcock. This is on me. My girlfriend was in the hospital the same day as you. After she glimpsed you, she fixated on the idea that she might be your missing daughter. She's been spiraling ever since." Eleanor's eyes widened. "Dr. Vance, I remember you. You oversaw our DNA testing." A murmur rippled through the onlookers. "So the doctor knows her. He must be telling the truth." "Yeah, didn't he say she gambles?" "She probably wants money." Eleanor's warm expression hardened. "Plenty of people resemble each other. If you think you can fool me with nothing but a similar face, you're delusional." As if taking that as permission, Henderson kicked me in the ribs. "You little witch. Act up again, and we'll teach you manners." I hit the floor, landing in a bed of broken glass. Sharp edges tore into my skin. My coworkers descended on me, stomping and punching. My face ballooned with swelling until it barely looked human. I'm not lying. I wheezed. Before I could finish, Henderson brought a champagne bottle down across my mouth. Crack. Pain exploded through my lips. Blood surged over my tongue. He rammed the jagged end of the shattered bottle into my mouth. I gagged, choking on blood as shards pierced my tongue. Celeste, who had been watching with a tight jaw, suddenly softened her expression, tears springing up. "Mom, Dad," she sniffled. "Someone is already trying to replace me. I've only been home for a year. My heart can't take this." She clutched her chest again, trembling. "My sweet girl, don't be afraid. We'll protect you," Mrs. Hitchcock murmured. They turned to escort Celeste away, convinced once again by her performance. Henderson seized me by the collar, jerking me up. My blouse ripped loudly. The ballroom erupted with ugly jeers. "Look at her. What a mess, but she's got a decent body." Eleanor froze at the sound. She turned back, her eyes catching the exposed skin on my shoulder. Her expression crumbled. She rushed to me, brushing her fingers over the crescent-shaped birthmark beneath my collarbone. "Richard," she whispered, "look." Mr. Hitchcock hurried over. "Have you had that since childhood?" Mute from pain, I nodded. "Our daughter was born with a black crescent mark on her shoulder," Eleanor murmured. How could she have the same one unless? Hope flared in my chest. Then Celeste stepped forward, tears streaming. She tugged her dress strap aside. "I have one too." She copied it. And there it was, a matching mark on her shoulder. My stomach plunged. This was Andrew's work. Right on cue, Andrew sighed heavily. "She forced me to take medical photos of Celeste's birthmark so she could get a tattoo made. She's obsessed." He produced his phone. The pictures were all there, clear as day. Then he scrolled to old images of another woman and claimed they were of me before plastic surgery. She altered her face to look like Miss Hitchcock. Pain shot through my chest, sharper than any glass shard. Why him? Why was he doing this to me? Don't give up. Find your old photos. Prove him wronged. My hands shook as I searched my phone. Nothing. Every photo from before this year was gone. Then it hit me. When I bought a new phone last year, Andrew insisted on doing the data transfer for me. He must have deleted every old photo then. That scumbag planned this from the start. He wants to erase you completely. Seeing me frantically scrolling through an empty gallery, Celeste broke into sobs. "Mom, Dad, you promised you believed me. Why are you doubting me now? I might as well die." She grabbed a cake knife and aimed it at her chest. The Hitchcocks rushed to stop her. "Don't do anything foolish. We trust you. Come home with us." Mr. Hitchcock glanced back at Henderson. "Call the police. Have that imposter detained." As my co-workers dragged me away again, I heard Henderson whisper, "Take her out like we discussed. You'll get your reward." Ice filled my lungs. They were all part of Celeste's scheme. That was why they had tormented me since day one. They were guarding Celeste's stolen identity and waiting for the right moment to eliminate me. Is this it? Is she still going to end up disfigured and dead like before? Rage roared through me. No. Not this time. Fueled by adrenaline, I ripped free, lunged for the knife, and slashed my own wrist. Shrieks filled the ballroom. "She's bleeding. Someone call an ambulance." The Hitchcocks spun around, shock etched on their faces. I dropped to my knees and, with shaking fingers dripping blood, wrote 2 words on the marble floor. "DNA test." A voice from the crowd shouted, "She's willing to die for this. Why not test her? What if she's telling the truth?" Mr. Hitchcock's expression darkened with resolve. "Arrange a DNA test between her and my wife. Immediately." Eleanor stiffened, her voice sharp and incredulous. "What? Are you implying I secretly had a child with someone else?" "Of course not," Richard Hitchcock replied quickly, his tone gentle but firm. "I trust you completely. But we have to put an end to the rumors." A surge of hope swelled inside me. I nodded, but a wave of dizziness hit me, and my vision blurred into darkness. I collapsed. "She's losing too much blood. Get her to a hospital immediately," someone shouted. Through the chaos, Andrew rushed toward me. "Leah, stay calm. I'll save you." He tore a strip from his shirt and wrapped it around my wrist, pressing firmly. But as darkness threatened to swallow me, a sharp sting from the embedded glass snapped me back. I reached out, clutching Eleanor Hitchcock's sleeve, my eyes wide with pleading. Whether it was instinct, blood, or the uncanny resemblance of my face to hers, Eleanor paused. She raised her hand, halting the men around us. Put her in our car, she commanded. Celeste's face flickered in panic. She shot a terrified glance at Andrew, then clutched her chest and slumped. Celeste, Richard shouted, rushing to her side and instructing the staff to take her to a car first. Andrew urged haste, insisting she was critical. Henderson offered to take me to the hospital, but I refused, clutching my mother's sleeve desperately. Finally, Eleanor relented. She instructed her driver to follow her husband, but ordered a separate car for me. I relaxed, knowing this one wasn't the trap. Instead of a standard hospital, she had the car take me to the Hitchcock Corporation's private medical facility. There, her personal doctor, Dr. Evans, tended to my injuries and collected blood and hair samples for a DNA maternity test. The next morning, the results arrived. It was undeniable. I was Eleanor Hitchcock's biological daughter. Reading the report, my mother broke down, tears streaming. My daughter, it's really you. A knot of emotions tightened in my chest. Grief, relief, disbelief. After discovering the truth about my adoptive parents 2 years ago, my world had been a fragile lie. Then Andrew, the man I trusted, tried to destroy me. Without the warning from that phantom text, I would have been dead already. Mom, I cried, voice breaking. Eleanor gathered me into her arms, stroking my hair. It's okay now, my sweet girl. I'm here. I will never let you suffer again.
Bang.
The door burst open. Richard Hitchcock stormed in, face flushed with fury. So it's true. You cheated and had a child behind my back, he bellowed. Step away from her. I will make sure you regret this. He shoved Eleanor aside and grabbed me by the hair, dragging me from the bed.
Dad, wait.
I'm your daughter too, I shouted, rasped from recent treatment. Daddy, she's lying. I'm your only daughter. Celeste wheezed from a wheelchair, Andrew pushing her forward. Her pale, fragile form looked like it could collapse at any second. Richard released me and rushed to her side. Celeste, the doctor said you needed rest.
What are you doing here?
I was worried, she sobbed. I was afraid Mom would be fooled, that you would be deceived. The phantom text blazed in my mind. Oh no. Her grandfather? The Forbes-listed tycoon who orchestrated her mother's marriage. Eleanor grabbed Richard's arm, pleading. I've never been unfaithful. You are the only man I've ever loved. How could you think I would do such a thing? Then explain this, he roared, waving the DNA report. I scrambled to my feet.
Dad.
I'm your daughter too. If you doubt it, we can do another test, right here. Richard hesitated, considering my face, his anger softening for a moment. Celeste clutched her chest theatrically. Daddy, don't believe her. 2 years ago, the test proved I'm your daughter. Andrew stepped in, calm and measured. Leah, for 2 years you've tried to fool them.
But you can't fool me.
Mrs. Hitchcock, did you witness the blood and hair being collected yourself? Eleanor's eyes widened. No. I was on the phone in the hallway. I returned only after the samples were drawn. Her gaze hardened. Are you saying she faked it? Andrew nodded grimly. She forced me to take multiple hair strands and blood vials from Miss Hitchcock, kept them frozen, and either swapped the samples or bribed the doctor. Impossible. Dr. Evans protested. I've never met this woman before. I would never risk my career for her. Andrew calmly replied. No need to guess. We can verify. Richard instructed his bodyguards to search the room. Within half an hour, they returned, presenting several frozen vials and a small bag with hair strands, frost-coated and clearly stored long-term. Exactly what we needed, Andrew said. I secretly marked the stoppers with the letter S when she collected them. You can confirm. A vial was opened. A tiny hand-carved S was etched on the rubber stopper. I feared she might misuse Miss Hitchcock's DNA, Andrew said, pressing a hand to his forehead. I never imagined it would help like this. Celeste broke into fresh tears. Daddy.
See?
She bribed the doctor. Mom, you were deceived. My mother's face flushed red with fury, glaring at me. I almost fell for it. Dr. Evans interjected. I've served this family faithfully for decades. I wouldn't betray you. But he had no explanation for how the samples ended up in his fridge. At that moment, a bodyguard rushed in, holding a credit card tucked inside one of Dr. Evans' books. Checking it revealed $2 million. Richard's face darkened like a storm cloud. He ordered a trace on the money transfer, and within moments, the result came back. The funds had moved just 2 hours earlier. That's the bribe money, Andrew declared. 2 years ago, Leah sold her adoptive parents' house, worth almost exactly $2 million. Richard verified it. The transfer had indeed come from my account. My eyes met Andrew's, my heart fracturing. I remembered selling the house 2 years ago, trusting Andrew to hold the money safely for a down payment on a future home. He had weaponized that trust against me. Why? I whispered, the word breaking in my throat. I trusted you completely. Why betray me and frame me like this? Andrew forced a pained expression. Leah, I only wanted to protect you from making a mistake. Then he turned to my father. Mr. Hitchcock, now I understand why Leah started at the Grand Majestic a month ago. Every step has been planned. Richard checked the hotel's records. Indeed, I had been hired a month prior, the flagship hotel of the Hitchcock Corporation, perfectly positioned to get close to the family. My mother's fury ignited. Doctor, your last day of practice is today, she snapped at Dr. Evans. Security, remove this imposter and the complicit doctor immediately. As the guards advanced, the phantom text flared. LEAH, tell them about the memories from when you were 5. Andrew could never know. A surge of adrenaline shot through me.
Mom.
Do you remember why I got lost? I wanted a peach from the tree in the garden. That imposter could never know that. My mother froze. Celeste shot Andrew a panicked look. He could only shake his head, fear in his eyes. Celeste groaned, clutching her head, attempting her usual trick, but I cut her off. She's faking it, Mom. If she were your real daughter, she wouldn't have amnesia from before age 5. Turning to my father, I continued, and you, Dad, don't let them destroy Dr. Evans, who has served you loyally for decades. Test those frozen samples. Let the results speak. Whose DNA is in those tubes, mine or hers? Richard exchanged a glance with my mother, then nodded. Take Miss Hitchcock to the next room to rest. Celeste screamed, you can't give her a chance, but her protests were ignored. I stood, determined. From the moment I appeared last night, you've tried to silence me. Faked illnesses threaten suicide. Celeste, you can't run from the truth forever. The seed of doubt took hold. Celeste hadn't had any health issues for the past year, yet suddenly she had 2 heart attacks in 24 hours. Bodyguards escorted Andrew and Celeste out. I collapsed to my knees before my parents. Mom, when I was 5, I begged you for peaches. You climbed the tree, and that's when they took me. I wore the bib Grandma embroidered, and my little red sneaker came off while I struggled. When I was 4, I threw your fishing bait into the lake. When I was 3, my cousin scared me with a frog, and Mom, you yelled at him until he cried. Memory after memory poured out. Celeste could never have known these intimate moments. My daughter, my mother whispered, tears streaking her face. It's really you. She pulled me into a protective embrace. A bodyguard burst in. Sir, madam. Miss Hitchcock faked a fainting spell and escaped with Dr. Vance. Richard's face darkened. So, she's an imposter. Find them and bring them back. I gripped my father's hand, trembling, and recounted everything, the elaborate scheme Andrew and Celeste had devised to ruin me and claim my place. My mother's grief turned into fury. She ordered her guards to arrest the Grand Majestic manager immediately. My father locked down all airports and train stations in the city. No one would escape. With the truth finally revealed, my adrenaline drained. I collapsed into my mother's arms. She cradled me gently, weeping. My poor baby, you've suffered so much. Soon, the expedited DNA results returned. The frozen blood and hair belonged to me, and my father's test confirmed it. I was his biological daughter. My mother's voice trembled with relief. Richard, I told you I've only ever loved you. You didn't believe me. He pulled her close. I know. It's my fault. I'm so sorry, Eleanor. For the first time, we truly felt like a family. When the hotel manager was brought in, he froze at the sight of my mother feeding me soup. Mr. Hitchcock, Mrs. Hitchcock. It wasn't me. It was the fake heiress. She threatened me and forced my actions. He revealed everything, how Celeste had orchestrated my torment, monitored me through Andrew, and ensured I could never quit. A single look from her the night before had signaled him to silence me, which explained the brutality I had endured. Hearing that she had almost arranged for me to be disfigured and killed in a staged car crash, my parents' fury boiled over. You were going to let my daughter be maimed and murdered? My mother screamed. The manager stammered, begging for mercy. I've already called the police, my father said, his voice low and dangerous. You will all face justice. Within hours, Andrew and Celeste were apprehended. At the station, Andrew scrambled to my side, begging, "Leah, it's not my fault. She forced me. You have to believe me. She has power and wealth now. I couldn't resist." I looked at the man I had loved for 2 years and felt nothing but revulsion. I held up the lighter he had rigged. "You set this up, didn't you?" One click, and it would have blown up in my face. "You plotted my murder for her, yet you claim to love me? If you truly loved me, you would have helped me find my family, not conspired to destroy me." Andrew shook his head, tears streaming. I love you so much. Celeste said you'd never want me if you became an heiress. I thought I wasn't enough." Celeste shrieked, lunging at him before officers restrained her. "You liar! You planned to make me the real heiress. You said we'd get rid of the old fools and split everything." They turned on each other, confessing everything. "Yes, Leah. Let them destroy each other. Your parents will deal with the rest. They won't escape justice." My father gently took the lighter and handed it to the police. "Why did you keep something so dangerous?" my mother asked, voice trembling. "I forgot," I admitted with a weak smile. The investigation uncovered the driver Andrew and Celeste had hired to stage the car crash, a desperate man trying to save his dying daughter. Celeste had promised him a deal, his life for hers. My mother looked at me, pity softening her expression. "A parent would do anything for their child," I whispered. "Just as you and Dad would for me. He didn't go through with it. Maybe we can help him." The driver sank to his knees, sobbing, gratitude spilling from him. The police explained that while he hadn't carried out the act, the conspiracy to commit murder was a serious offense, corroborated by his texts and the financial records he held with Celeste. He would face a prison sentence. I promised him I would cover his daughter's medical bills. My parents reassured him that, with his cooperation, his time behind bars would likely be short, and he would soon be reunited with his little girl. A week later, the trial concluded. Andrew and Celeste, along with the hotel manager and the others involved, pleaded guilty. Andrew admitted to stealing the $2 million from me, intending to use it as the final piece of evidence to frame me. They revealed the full, year-long conspiracy, starting the moment Andrew accessed my medical records and realized my identity. He had deliberately kept me away from any news about my parents' search while collecting my DNA and erasing all traces of my past. Even the incident a year ago, when he fell into a lake and I nearly drowned saving him, had been staged to get my blood and hair while I was disoriented. With my parents' top lawyers ensuring justice, Andrew and Celeste were sentenced to 40 years in prison. The hotel manager and his accomplices received prison terms ranging from 10 to 30 years for attempted murder and assault. After leaving the courthouse, my parents had a surprise waiting for me. Back at the villa, it was decorated for a huge birthday celebration. My parents stood on either side of me, holding my hands as they reintroduced me to friends and family. They sang and we cut the cake together. My mother's eyes shimmered with tears as 18 beautifully wrapped presents were brought out. "My love, we missed 18 years of your life. This can't make up for it, but it's a start," she whispered. Emotion overwhelmed me, but one question still lingered. "Mom, Dad, why didn't I ever see missing person posters or news alerts? If I had, I would have recognized you immediately. We're like mirrors of each other." My mother sighed. "The day you were taken, your grandmother had a severe heart attack. Doctors said she couldn't handle more stress, so we concealed it. We told her you were busy with school, music, dance, chess, writing, and doctored photos to reassure her." My father continued. "Her condition worsened over time. A year later, your grandfather finally realized something was wrong. He was furious, ready to launch a search, but your grandmother overheard. The shock caused another attack, and she didn't survive. Afterward, my grandfather traveled the world, heartbroken. My parents finally intensified their search, but by then I had been taken to another state, and my adoptive parents had changed my name. Searching for me was like finding a needle in a haystack. My early childhood memories were hazy, my adoptive parents had been kind, and I never had reason to suspect I was kidnapped. It wasn't until my adoptive mother's confession that the memories came flooding back, fragmented yet vivid. I sold their house and came to the city, guided by faint echoes of my past. But the city was harsh, expensive, and lonely. I could barely afford rent, and despair began to settle in. And then I met Andrew, the man who first recognized me, not as a savior, but as a target. My parents pulled me into a tight embrace. No one will ever take you from us again, they promised. I looked up at the starry sky, tilting my head back. Suddenly, fireworks erupted overhead, brilliant colors illuminating the night. They spelled a message. Luna Hitchcock, welcome home. Luna Hitchcock, the name I had chosen for myself. Tears streamed down my cheeks. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Dad. I whispered. My mother took my hand, eyes sparkling. Do you want to see your room? I decorated it just for you, filled with dolls and handbags, everything you could ever want. As my parents led me into the villa, a few final phantom texts appeared in the night sky. We're so happy for you, Luna. You finally have your happy ending, and those monsters are getting what they deserve. Our work here is done. Goodbye, Luna Hitchcock. I waved at the empty sky. Thank you, I whispered. Goodbye. My parents looked puzzled. Who are you talking to, honey? I smiled, warmth spreading through my chest. Some old friends, I said. Without them, I never would have found my way back to you. They exchanged knowing smiles, looking up at the sky themselves, and shouted into the night, Thank you. And in the quiet darkness, the stars seemed to twinkle a little brighter, as if saying, You're welcome. Now, go be happy.